Palantir is here to disrupt and make the institutions we partner with the very best in the world, and when it's necessary, to scare enemies and on occasion kill them.
That's Alex Karp, co-founder and CEO of Palantir Technologies, the data firm that's arguably the most powerful surveillance tool in the US government. A man with a PhD in philosophy, a fortune north of $18 billion, and a habit of saying the quiet part out loud. Some call him the most honest man in Silicon Valley. Others call him something much worse: techno-fascist, techno-tyrant. But by the end of this video, you'll have heard him in his own words, and you can decide for yourself. Karp's story starts in a library. He earned a philosophy degree at Haverford College, a law degree at Stanford, and then a PhD in social theory from Goethe University in Frankfurt, where he wrote his dissertation on the German philosopher Jürgen Habermas. Multiple biographical accounts note he spent time afterward at the Sigmund Freud Institute and ran a small European investment firm before returning to the US. It was at Stanford that he met Peter Thiel, the PayPal co-founder who would later become one of the most influential financiers in conservative politics. Thiel recruited Karp in 2004 to run a company he'd co-founded a year earlier with Thiel, engineers Nathan Gettings and Stephen Cohen and Joe Lonsdale, a startup named Palantir, after the all-seeing Seeing Stones in The Lord of the Rings. Its first check came from In-Q-Tel, the CIA's own venture capital arm. The pitch was blunt. After 9/11, American intelligence agencies couldn't connect their own data. Palantir would fix that. A philosophy PhD with no engineering background became the face of a company built to hunt terrorists using algorithms first developed to catch PayPal fraud. It's an origin story that sounds almost too strange to be true, and it's the reason nearly everything that follows makes a certain kind of sense. By 2023, Palantir was no longer hiding. At the World Economic Forum in Davos, Karp addressed the tech workers who objected to his company's military and intelligence contracts directly. His message was,
"You may not agree with that, and bless you, don't work here."
That same refusal to bend to social pressure shows up in how he hires too, and one story in particular has become Palantir legend. Karp once interviewed Louis Mosley, an Oxford graduate whose grandfather, Oswald Mosley, led Britain's fascist movement and was once named the worst Briton of the 20th century. The moment Mosley sat down, Karp began reciting from memory several minutes of one of his grandfather's 1939 speeches calling for Britain to make peace with Nazi Germany. When he finished, Karp ran through a few Tai Chi moves and walked out without saying goodbye. Mosley assumed his family's history had just cost him the job. Instead, Karp hired him, and today, Mosley runs Palantir's UK business. CNBC also reported that Karp has repeatedly criticized what he calls Silicon Valley's growing intolerance of companies that work with the military and intelligence community, a culture he blamed for pushing engineers away from national security work altogether. In 2020, Palantir relocated its headquarters from Palo Alto to Denver, a move Karp connected to that same frustration with Bay Area orthodoxy. Where most Silicon Valley leaders softened their language around defense contracts, Karp leaned into his. It's the same instinct that, a year later, would become an entire book. But before we continue, let me ask you, are you liking this video so far? Do you think this story is interesting? Then let us know in the comment section below, and if so, drop a like, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you know as soon as we drop a new video. In February 2025, Karp and Palantir's head of corporate affairs, Nicholas Zimiska, published The Technological Republic: Hard Power, Soft Belief, and the Future of the West. The book argues that Silicon Valley has lost itself. American techies have forgotten the central role the military has in further development of technology. Karp believes Silicon Valley execs have drifted away from this and have preferred the development of food delivery apps and video sharing tech, which brings no transformative power to the nation. AI has become also a tipping point in the eyes of Karp, who sees it as the sign for Silicon Valley to return to that original relationship with the government that gave life to it in the first place. The Financial Times' review of Karp's book gives us more insight into this urgency. If only, Mr. Karp laments, some brave technologists would step forward and show the way, for techies to become more patriotic and willing to develop military technology, and for governments to become more like the fast-moving, innovative tech industry. Recently, Palantir doubled down on Karp's thesis and posted a 22-point manifesto where they pretty much state that Silicon Valley owes a profound moral debt to the nation precisely because it enabled its rise. Hard power through software and AI must replace the exhausted limits of soft power and rhetoric. The tipping point in which Karp and Palantir situate the West also poses another hard truth in their eyes. Adversaries will not hesitate to build advanced weapons, so the West must build them first. This includes equipping troops with superior software as readily as better rifles, applauding bold visionaries who tackle what markets neglect, and enlisting Silicon Valley to confront violent crime and other societal failures. On the social front, the manifesto rejects hollow pluralism and relativism. Not all cultures are equal. Some have produced wonders while others remain regressive, and elites must resist intolerance of religious belief. It pleads also for greater grace toward public servants, an end to the psychologization of politics and gleeful destruction of opponents, and a rejection of the corrosive caution that drives talent from public life. Based on Karp's technological republic, Palantir's manifesto envisions a future where technology elites step forward as stewards of hard power and national vitality, forging an America and a West unafraid to define its culture, demand shared sacrifice, and harness software as the foundation of strength in a dangerous world. It is both a call to civic duty and a pointed critique of modern decadence, urging a return to realism, an unapologetic defense of what the authors see as the sources of Western success. The reception has been sharply divided though, but going back to the original source of this 22-point manifesto posted by Palantir, the reception of Karp's book has been sharply divided. The historian Neil Ferguson called it a stirring manifesto for a new Manhattan project for the AI age, according to a blurb featured on the publisher's site. General James Mattis recommended it be read by anyone who cares about technology and American security. But not everyone agreed. Bloomberg's review was blunt, calling the book in places badly written and tedious. They argued its underlying politics were troubling. Harvard economist Jason Furman criticized the book for leaning on cultural argument while offering few concrete policy solutions. Even outlets sympathetic to Karp's broader project, like the Stanford Review, described the book less as a memoir of Palantir and more as a sweeping cultural argument, one that blames Silicon Valley's groupthink for turning defense work into a taboo. A year after the publishing of his book, Karp was back at Davos, this time next to BlackRock CEO Larry Fink. Asked whether AI would create or destroy jobs, Karp didn't hedge.
Is AI going to create jobs or destroy jobs overall?
Yeah, I think one of the unfortunate things of the narrative in the West is it will destroy humanity's jobs.
Then, turning the point on himself and on Fink, Karp added that his own philosophy education would be hard to sell in that new economy.
Hopefully you have some other skill.
Commentators reacted quickly. Forbes contributor Benjamin Wolf noted the remark sparked outrage among people who believe human skills, not just technical ones, will matter more as AI spreads. While MSNBC's opinion desk went further, arguing that Karp's Davos remarks revealed an underlying ideology of technological Darwinism that helps explain parts of the current administration's thinking. The irony wasn't lost on observers either. Around the same time, financial outlet BigGo reported that Karp himself acknowledged that AI boom could make him many times richer while middle-class wage growth stays comparatively modest. A dynamic Fink in the same Davos conversation described wealth increasingly flowing only to
the owners of models, owners of data, and owners of infrastructure.
Karp, in other words, isn't denying that AI concentrates wealth. He's simply arguing it's worth it. Palantir's most sustained controversy, though, isn't about jobs. It's about immigration enforcement. Palantir signed a $30 million contract with Immigration and Customs Enforcement in April 2025 to build a system called Immigration OS, designed to help the agency track and process deportation cases. Federal spending records show Palantir's total federal contracts nearly doubled in 2025, crossing $970 million. As protests against ICE tactics intensified in early 2026 following fatal shootings of 2 U.S. citizens by federal agents in Minnesota, Palantir faced renewed scrutiny. Karp's response wasn't to distance the company. According to CNBC, Karp told critics that they should be out there protesting for more Palantir. Still, Palantir has said its systems include audit trails and access controls specifically to guard against misuse. The pattern, though, isn't limited to the US. The BBC also reported that Palantir's roughly £330 million contract with Britain's National Health Service has worried privacy advocates and some doctors, and also that use of Palantir's tools by the Israel Defense Forces has, in its reporting, angered some of the company's own employees and investors. Karp, for his part, told CNBC in 2024 that he'd already lost staff over his outspoken support for Israel following the October 7th Hamas attacks, and that he'd expected more departures. According to that interview, his framing wasn't really about one country. It was, he said, about whether people believe in the West. Which takes us to the DealBook Summit exchange. When pressed on whether people who are legally under surveillance could end up in Palantir systems, Karp didn't deflect. On whether adversaries of the US are surveilled using data that feeds Palantir's product, he said,
100%, and I completely support that.
Weeks later, on a fourth quarter earnings call covered by Reuters, Karp defended the company's surveillance technology again, telling investors Palantir had safeguards against government overreach. In that same period, Karp described Palantir's internal culture as completely anti-woke, framing the company's identity as much as in cultural terms as in technical ones. Supporters call this candor, a CEO refusing to hide behind vague corporate language. Critics call it something closer to an admission. Either way, it's rare to hear a tech executive answer that question without a single qualifier. In 2025, Time named Karp to its list of the 100 most influential people in the world, and his personal net worth crossed $18 billion, placing him among the 200 wealthiest people on Earth. Palantir has also, according to multiple reports, provided battlefield data tools to Ukraine's government free of charge, a fact his supporters point to as evidence of the company's stated mission. So, who is Alex Karp? A philosopher who genuinely believes the West needs to rebuild its nerve, or a defense contractor using philosophy as a marketing asset? A CEO defending citizens' Fourth Amendment right to see claims, or the architect of a surveillance system operating with less oversight than most people realize? Is Alex Karp the philosopher CEO the West needs right now, or exactly the kind of concentrated power the West should be worried about? You tell us in the comment section. Because Western civilization is built upon the creative tension around the preservation of liberties, and that is one of our foundations. We are Big Picture Originals, a brand powered by Brazil Paralelo, driven by a small team that seeks to bring to you high-quality productions that connect audiences with the culture, history, and values that give purpose to life. To achieve our goal, every kind of support means the world. So, if you feel related and you enjoyed this video, drop a heart like. Let us know your opinion in the comments. Subscribe to our channel and share this video with anybody that you feel might appreciate it. And if you want to get early access to our releases, click the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen right now. See you in our next brief.